The NFL draft has come. The NFL draft has gone. Here are our initial reactions to it. It was a huge night. We had a lot of picks that have pretty much altered a lot of teams' future of the next 5 to 10 years. What are you thinking?
Um, I want to start with I gotta go with Brock Like I gotta go with like picks like 8 through like 15. Just
Sure.
kind of really didn't make sense to me. More specifically, um, Penix and Bowers going where they went. Again, and I'll say this with every take I make. I don't hate like the teams for taking them. I just kind of hate where they took them. It was the same fear that I had with my team reaching for JJ McCarthy. I was until the fifth pick was announced, I was worried that we were gonna move up and swap the Chargers and go give up every pick we had this year to go get JJ McCarthy at 5. That was my biggest fear. So with that said, Brock Bowers to the Raiders, like
I've thought
uh,
about this for I've given this one a lot more thought than some of the others. Brock
yeah, I
Bowers.
want to hear your thoughts before I give mine.
Well, the first last year we had obviously we had Mayer in the first round, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He's more of a, I would say, an extension of that offensive line where he's usually going to be on that line to the side next to the tackle, right? But with when you have Brock Bowers available at 13, that's the best player available, in my opinion, as far as speed, explosiveness, power, like strength. He has so many abilities of being one of the top pass catchers in the league.
Hmm?
It's going to be hard to pass up on that, even though you have a mayor on on the board as well, or I'm sorry, on the team as well. So I think he's going to plug in very similar to how the Packers are running their offense with their dual threat tight ends with Kraft and Musgrave. He's going to fit in very nicely. And I understand there's a lot other needs too, but here's the thing. It's the Raiders, like we're not really worried about if they're going to start competing in the next 2 years, right?
Fair
This
point.
is a team that they are on a full rebuild here. They don't have their QB. I understand that. Maybe could have went Dallas Turner there. That could have been another option. And obviously the corners fell, so that's not really a huge need for a lot of these teams here. So he's one of the better players available, if not the best player available, when you can have him running the slot, Mayer on the line. You can plug and play him wherever you'd like. He's going to be a great piece for the Raiders for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that was one of my that was one of my thoughts is like maybe they just use Michael Mayer in their run game and just let him go be big, and then they put Brock Bowers out there and treat him more maybe like a maybe not like a Gronk type, but more like just a third wide receiver. Like it's
Yeah, more of a big body pass
or a
catcher
big
like
body,
Kyle
yeah, big
Pitts.
maybe like a not to be a homer, but maybe like a TJ Hawkinson, just kind of like a
Yeah.
safety blanket, like third option that you can go check down to when you're running for your life.
And the best part of this pick, not only is he probably going to mostly be doing that, he's also a phenomenal blocker too. So, like I said, plug and play wherever you want him. He's going to get the job done. That's the best player
The,
available.
be- the best part about that is he's such a good run blocker because the teams he played on would steamroll everybody, so they'd end up running the ball the entire second half. So he got plenty of reps doing that. That's the ironic part about that whole thing. So
Exactly.
yeah, that one just doesn't make that one didn't make sense to me now, but now that we explained it a little bit, it makes more sense. But then
Yeah.
again, it's the Raiders. They'll be in the basement of the AFC West with the with Broncos, and we'll move on with our
So
lives.
there's not really a yeah, that's not a bad pick because you're not going for something super soon here. Like if you were the Jets per se and you pick Brock Bowers, that's a pick because you want to win now, right? Like, but instead they go tackle because they're thinking more long term. But with Rodgers having probably 1 year in a Jets uniform, they're going. all in. I'm surprised they didn't take Brock Bowers. I was always going tackle, and my guy was actually Fuaga. I know you know that, but Fashanu, I'm not mad at that pick either, to be honest.
Yeah.
What is the most surprising pick to you?
Well, I mean, it would be obvious, so I'm not going to go there. But I think the most surprising pick to me was Lot 2 coming off the board before Dallas Turner. Because I think the consensus, maybe, again, I could be completely wrong. These experts could be completely different than me, but it was my understanding that Dallas Turner was the consensus best linebacker slash edge rusher in this draft. So when the Colts went with Latu at what 15, I wasn't like stunned as much as I was like, okay, maybe every team has guys rated in different spots. So maybe they had Latu higher than Dallas Turner, but for the most part, I think Dallas Turner was consensus #1 guy. So I'm shocked he fell to the team that he fell at. But at the same time, I'm grateful that he fell to the team that he fell to. So um
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he's healthy, which obviously the Colts aren't really worried about, I think he's a steamroller, and I have him as my best edge of this
that's
draft.
the thing though, is that that's kind of like a Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. You can kind of flip flop them and you're gonna get the same thing for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah, I think you're gonna get the same result regardless. These are two phenomenal prospects that dropped way too far for my liking.
I think that would be my reach by that definition, but again, that's not a bad pick either. So
And I know you wanted to talk about Penix there too. You can go into that too, because I know that's the obvious pick here, but
yeah, that's why I
your
didn't want to say
thoughts
it.
on
That one's was that going to be your reach? Because that can be your reach.
No, I mean, I figured that was going to be brought up anyway. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but I think we could still bring it up regardless. A lefty named Michael getting drafted to Atlanta. All the dogs around that town are terrified. Let's just say that. And I'm thinking of Michael Vick here for the people who don't understand that.
Dude, that was so bad. That was so funny, but that was so bad.
They
Um,
can smell him coming. No, I mean, 100 million guaranteed.
yeah,
That's what we're talking about right now. 100 for 4 years, you have 100 million guaranteed, and I understand that he has what was it, an Achilles or ACL, one of the two,
Gillies.
Achilles. I understand that like there's that aspect to it, but regardless, it's 100 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
Like, what are we doing?
I think if I had to step into the shoes of the Falcons GM for a second, I think they're banking on the idea that maybe Kirk doesn't last a full 4 years, and maybe he retires before then, and they can just insert Penix whenever they want.
He has to because by the end of those 4 years, you have Penix turning 29.
So I think it's no, I think it's 27 because
He's
it's
24 right now, and he's going to be
24,
25 by the start of the year.
28. So we'll say 28 for the purposes of Kirk playing out the entire
Well,
deal.
yeah, right now he's 24, but by the time the season starts, he'll be 25.
Yeah, but yeah, and by the end of that deal, I'm pretty sure he'll be 28. So
Regardless, we're talking about a damn near 30-year-old. They have to know that he's not gonna last those 4 years. I don't know why they would pay him that type of money though.
I
That
think
doesn't.
it's the same idea with a Bo Nix at 12 to the Broncos. Not that age is an issue as much there because they've got Ben DiNucci, Jarrett Stidham, and Zach Wilson as the other three
But
quarterbacks in the
true.
room.
Well,
But at the same time, that's the risk you run drafting old guys, and quite frankly, you sign an old guy to be your QB. So the Falcons, the average age of the Falcons quarterback room is like 31 right now. It's insane. It's because it's those two in there. So I
but
mean,
I understand it a little bit more because again, this is another guy that's a plug and play player. He's gonna be coming out the gates starting for the Broncos. There's no way he isn't, right?
it's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably Zach Wilson right now. But again, that's what rookie mini camp and mini camp so far. I wouldn't be shocked if Bo Nix takes that job though. What's your reach?
I'm gonna skip past Jordan Morgan. I'm not talking about him right now. I'm upset. But we're going right below the Baltimore Ravens to that San Francisco 49ers pick, Ricky Pearsall. What's your thoughts on that pick?
Um, he's a second round guy. mostly because again, he doesn't like the Niners aren't really good. Niners are good at drafting everything but QB. So this feels like a Chiefs just kind of throwaway pick. We're like, okay, we'll go take somebody just to take somebody. Because like last year with the Chiefs, I don't remember who it was. They drafted like George Karlaftis, and I was looking at that and I'm like, okay, that's a throwaway pick. They'll throw him on the defensive line. He'll play just because he'll play. But then George Karlaftis ended up being one of the breakout rookies last year. So I could be wrong, but I think that's
The Niners.
I feel like that's a bit of a throwaway pick for the Niners just in case maybe they trade Ayuk and then Ricky Pearsall becomes that third guy. But
Well, I'm not sure if it's Ayuk. I'm because there's been some speculation
or
on
deep, yeah,
Samuel.
I
But either way, this is confirmation that one of those two players are out the door.
yeah, I think yeah, I was gonna
Which
say they wouldn't take this with the idea that one of those two wasn't being moved. And JJ's gonna see this and love this, but I'm pretty sure the Patriots are in talks for Ayuk already. So
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think a wide receiver here is the surprising pick for me. I think it's
who
the
they chose.
name Ricky.
Yeah.
That's the name that is surprising to me. I mean, I'm surprised. So we got Worthy, we got Pearsall, Leggett. All three of those went before AD Mitchell. That's kind of surprising to me because
Which
considering that I've seen AD Mitchell go as high as 17 to the, or I mean, yeah, 17 to the Jags.
here's the thing though. If the Bills didn't absolutely screw the league by giving the Chiefs that pick, let them take Worthy, I bet you the Bills would have taken either Worthy or AD Mitchell. Because they need
Possible.
either one of those fits exactly what they're trying to do. So
So assuming that they would go with one of those two picks, there's one guy available, they get extra draft capital knowing that they'll still end up with him.
mhm, yeah.
It's not a dumb decision.
I'm fairly confident that AD Mitchell will be the first pick in tonight's second round to the Bills at 33. Again, I could be completely wrong because this whole first round was completely wrong. But
Yeah, this was a shit show. And it started with number 8, and
yes,
that just threw everything off.
speaking of shit show, who is your steal in all of this madness? Okay, well, my reach is still going to be Brock Bowers.
That's really
Yeah, because I just again, I know the Raiders aren't here to like contend, but at the same time, there's a thousand other things they need. Like they could have taken Spencer Rattler, and I would have been more okay with that than you know what I mean? Like I get
I
it's
don't know
maybe
about that, man.
like okay, not Spencer Rattler. I'm being a little bit over dramatic there, but I'm saying I feel like there was more obvious picks that they should have made. That to me feels like a Penix to the Falcons type situation. Or that one doesn't make sense now, and maybe it'll make sense later. But
I don't think there's any issues with Brock Bowers here,
again,
man.
no, it's not how high Brock Bowers went, it's who he went to. That
Right.
that's the issue I have. Because Brock Bowers is a first round talent no matter where you place him. But I
He's a
just
top
don't
10 talent, man. That's why I think if anything, it's almost a steal because but you and JJ both had Brock Bowers going to the Jets, right?
yeah, and
So if anything, he fell.
I had that based on fit. Because he fit with what the Jets I thought the Jets needs were. The Raiders don't need a tight end. The Jets more so need a tight end.
Well, the thing
That was
is,
kind of where I was going with that.
there's no identity here with the Raiders. So you can plug in you can put in someone who doesn't fit just because there isn't no identity, because in the next 5 years there will be, and then maybe Brock Bowers right here is going to be one of those first steps to that type of team here.
Yeah,
Maybe especially with no QBs on the board at this point at 13. I mean, because obviously QB is going to be the position that kind of speaks to what type of team you are. And when you don't have that, I would just pick best player available because for the next 5 years, it's a complete rebuild.
yeah.
So it doesn't really even matter who it is as long as it's best player available. And at this point, outside of either Latu or Turner or maybe one of the offensive linemen, he's definitely the best one.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but something just about that pick doesn't make sense to me. Again, like I said, it could down the line.
It
It's just
was
It just
Yeah,
doesn't make sense to me right now.
it definitely is a surprise for sure, but yeah.
Yeah,
So biggest,
who's your
uh,
reach?
my biggest reach. I think my biggest. I mean, yeah, the biggest reach has to be Penix.
I think it has. Yeah, I think it kind of has to be. I mean, you can make an argument for like Bo Nix or like
Yeah.
Fuak or something, but it just doesn't make like Penix is just the one that's going to stand out every time. So,
Outside of that, it's got to be Jordan Morgan to the Packers here.
all right, Homer pick, explain yourself.
No, it's got it's. I mean, it's the homer pick, but truthfully, I'm looking at this list here, and that's the only one that really. There's not really a lot that don't make sense, and yeah, Morgan is one of them. You come in with the whole fan base looking for Kool-Aid, looking for DeJean. We need that corner, and even DeJean, who can not only do corner, but he can throw in with the nickel. He could go back with the safety. Like he's versatile on that end where we really need it. I think if we can lock down that position there, we are competing with the Niners of the world, of the Lions of the world. Like we're right there with them if we have that position locked up, assuming we get linebacker in the second round.
See, I would agree with you mostly on Cooper DeJean in the sense that where did Cooper DeJean play his college ball?
Iowa,
What conference is Iowa in?
Big Ten.
Yep.
You
What does
know,
the Big Ten love to do? They love to run the ball. What do the Niners love to do? They love to run the ball. So if you can get a corner like DeJean that can run stop,
yeah.
I think that's a win-win. I'm not saying I'm shocked that DeJean didn't go to you guys at 25, but I'd be shocked if he falls out of the second round because he's your prototypical run stopping corner. He didn't his
Which
pass
is exactly what we needed too.
Yeah, his pass numbers aren't going to be great because again, he played in a conference where guys weren't throwing the ball all over the yard. They were trying to hand it off and win games 17-7. So,
He's quick though too, so I feel like he can handle that.
yeah, yeah, not only that, he can handle it, but he's a white corner. So, it's kind of there's a stereotype there. So,
Now, Morgan, I mean, I've been reading up on him a little bit more considering he's part of the team now. He can go anywhere on the line too. He's also very versatile. I
yeah.
mean, we can plug him at center, even though it's probably going to be Zach Tom. So we'll probably have him in that probably left guard area, but wherever he excels at the most, we're going to throw him in there because he's that versatile. And he's a big body, explosive guy that really fits our scheme, honestly, more than some of these other guys.
I think we're trending more towards offensive lineman, like tackle versus guard, kind of blending together. So, like, if you take
Yeah.
a tackle, you can kind of put him wherever you want. Because I'm willing to bet all the guys in the draft have some level of experience and comfort at both positions. So I think
These days, yeah, I feel like it.
so. Unless it's like a center, a guy who's dedicated to snapping the ball and knowing signals and having to do all this and point things out at the line. I think offensive tackle and guard are kind of interchangeable. So whoever you're taking them with the idea that you can put them there or they can learn the other spot fairly quickly. Now, steals. I've got mine. Do you have yours?
Go for it.
Dallas Turner. Again, I'm a hypocrite because I called you a homer for taking the Packers.
It's
So
okay.
at the Packers pick, but the fact that he fell as far as he did, and then the fact that we traded back to get him at 17 without giving up first round picks elsewhere or anything else elsewhere. Granted, we don't have any picks in today's second and third rounds, but that's what you price you run to move up in the first round. So I think it's Dallas Turner because the Flores defense is already the scheme is already fits what he was doing at Bama anyway. And I think he's now again, this is probably a bad comp now, but he's a Micah Parsons type where he's listed as an edge rusher, but I have a feeling you could put him at inside linebacker and it's kind of the same idea. Now
Yeah, I was
again,
gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
is he gonna produce like Micah Parsons? Obviously not, at least not right. We don't know right now. So
I mean, you can't really compare him to the best.
well, yeah, no, I'm saying though, it's that kind of position where you can put him on the line and he can come off the edge, or you can put him in inside linebacker and he can guard a tight end or something. So I like that pick from a positionless style football type standpoint. But yeah, and draft capital as well. So all around, I think that was just a good. That was a great move.
All around, I am terrified now. I'm not excited. Um, I'm gonna go the pick right above that. I'm gonna go with Byron Murphy here. The
Ooh,
defensive tackle from Texas. Hook 'em, of course.
that should have been Cooper DeJean, man. Cooper DeJean should have been a Seahawk. That was a crime.
It's a crime, but you know, if it wasn't DeGene, it was gonna be Murphy. If he when he falls to 16, like this is a guy who, if the Broncos didn't need a QB, I'm taking Murphy at 12 here. And honestly, you couldn't even put him at 8 where Penix went.
Yeah,
Just super explosive. Fits the Seahawks super well.
yeah. It'll be a big.
Big body, yeah.
I think he's just a big body in the middle because they need. Again, you're in a division with the Niners and Rams, who are
He's
big,
gonna disrupt a lot of
I
things.
would say who are
And
big physical teams. I think he's a great fit specifically for that division.
I think he's raw. Like I think Johnny Newton was a little bit more of a polished prospect, but I think regardless, he was the right pick with that.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know. I'm loving that pick.
Do we want to do draft winners and losers from night one? My winner was my Vikings because again, we got our quarterback and then we added to a defense that was already better, significantly better than it was even a couple of years ago under Flores. So I think, yeah, my team won the draft, at least round one. And then biggest loser, Kirk Cousins.
Kirk
Because
Cousins himself.
because we have an Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love type situation where he watched his team draft his replacement with a top 15 pick. So or top or first round pick. So I think it was the Falcons from the hey, you could have had Dallas Turner on a defense. Again, the Falcons defense was pretty good for their standards last year. You could have made it slightly better with a Dallas Turner or a lot Leatu Latu. But again, you drafted 95-year-old Michael Penix behind
Yeah.
95-year-old Kirk Cousins. So
Right. I think my winner. This is kind of an obvious pick here, but I'm going with the Cardinals
I
with
like
number
that.
4,
I like
Marvin
that a lot.
Harrison. I for me, he's the clear number 1 wide receiver from route running to just his explosiveness. I mean, he's got I don't think I've even seen him drop a ball even.
Yeah.
And then you also get a second pick with Darius Robinson, who I think most people think that he was kind of a reach, but this is definitely a guy that's a first round talent, I should say.
Yeah, here to the people who think that's a reach, you gotta understand. Chop was gone, Latu was gone, and Turner was gone. At that point, I think the Cardinals were going best available.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a guy that's better, but the top three edge rushers were already gone at that point. So they needed to go get somebody again in a division where you got to face San Francisco twice a year. You got to face the Rams. The Seahawks are going to be better. So
Yeah.
I like that from a fit standpoint.
Yeah,
So
and I mean you could even gone with the Bears, obviously. If you have 2 first round picks, you're gonna be a winner. I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't even matter who it is. If you have 2 first round picks,
yeah.
you have to hit on one of those.
Especially when you're pairing quarterback with young receiver, and those guys presumably are going to be together for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. And my losers are Buffalo Bill fans. My goodness.
Oh my God.
You start with what was it?
I think they're
28?
yeah, 27 or
Oh,
28.
28 here. Yeah. So you're already waiting all day or
All night.
all night for 3 hours waiting on your wide receiver AD Mitchell pick.
Oh God.
And then you trade with
Of all the teams,
Chiefs of all
of
people,
all the teams you choose to trade with, you give football Jesus another Tyreek Hill type receiver. What are we doing?
which I think he was going to be there anyway, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, trade it to like the Panthers or something. Throw it away. If you're gonna do anything, throw it away. Don't give it to
Well, here's the thing:
you
they
know?
did trade with the Panthers. That's the
And then
issue
yeah, and then they
for the
proceeded to
Buffalo Bill
ironically enough
fans.
trade with the Panthers. So
That's the issue that the Buffalo Bill fans have. Not only did you trade with the Chiefs here, you're now waiting till 32, another 4 picks, while you already waited 3 hours, and then you trade with the Carolina Panthers, and you're left with Nothing.
Not only
Obviously, they
that,
get the first pick next for tonight, but
if they don't take a receiver, the city of Buffalo might burn down tonight. Like they might riot if they don't take a receiver at 33.
you have Kool-Aid, McKinstry, and DeJean on the board right now.
But
Would
you've got
I be upset if I was a Bills fan? Not completely.
but you've got Khalil Shakir as your wide receiver one.
I understand that, but with what you have here, I mean, you're
Again,
getting
that defense is also completely gutted too. So
yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like I understand that he doesn't. He's got plumbers to throw to, but when you got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and who's the Jets guy? Did Garrett Wilson?
my
Like
God, dude.
you need someone to stop those guys, and you don't have anyone.
Is
You
it
don't.
safe, is it safe to say if anyone in Buffalo still thinks they're contending, you need to seek help? I'm sorry. I
This
know
is
you
not a
have Josh
playoff.
Allen and he's great, but the Bills may win 7 games.
What's the difference between what's the difference between the Bills and the Chargers right now? The
Uh,
weather?
no. Yeah, the weather.
The
The
weather.
weather and yeah, and what time slot they play in every week.
Right. Like you got a top five QB in the whole league, and then everything else is gutted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the Bills fans. The Bills fans, sorry guys. You I'm sure you didn't have a good night last night. I didn't have a great night last night either, so I understand, but we'll
Yeah,
keep it.
we got that on video and that'll be up there forever and ever.
Did you get that?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. Shameless
Nice.
plug. It'd
Yeah,
be
with that said, that's it for us today, boys and maybe girls. We'll see. Or if anyone's watching this at all, maybe we're just putting
talking
this
with
onto the
boys.
internet for the abyss. Now, with that said, NBA or NFL draft was a wild night, and I know my buddy Owen over here is loving it. I don't think it doesn't look right seeing Turner in purple. It doesn't make sense to me.
But it feels so, yes, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't. It does, but it doesn't. Anyways, so with that said, we might not be going too far deep into the NFL route. We are turning our tides more towards the the NBA playoffs here, and we'll see what happens. All right, thanks guys for watching. Hit a like if you liked it. Leave a comment. Who was your biggest reach? Who was your biggest steal in the draft? Let us know in the comments below. Also subscribe to. We're trying to get to what's our goal here? Do we want 50?
100 subs by the end of the calendar year.
Oh, we're getting more than 100.
Yeah.
I
I'm,
want
I'm
100. I want 100 by the end of summer.
We'll see. Let's work.
Let's see. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the next one. Peace.